Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Interjection 1. You don't say. Okay, it's the first time I'm doing this one. I've probably done a couple of other interjections in the past, and I probably would have listed them under idioms, because technically a lot of these different types of phrases are idioms at the same time. But I think it deserves its own category. So today we're going to start with the first one. Okay, let's look at the note here. If someone says you don't say, we can actually use it several different ways. So we're going to cover at least 3 different ways, and 3 different meanings that it has when people say it. Because if you hear someone say it, you may not really be sure, well, what do they mean when they're saying it now? So let's continue here. It can express genuine surprise. Like, really? Is that true? At the same time, it could just be a general response that doesn't express interest or surprise, maybe even a little bit of boredom. So let's look at the first one here. Of course, these all have A and B. So here's the first one. I'm going to get married next month. And he says, you don't say. Congratulations. Who is the lucky girl? So, of course, this one is genuine surprise. All right, let's look at the next one here, number 2. The president is going on an overseas trip next week. And, B probably responds kind of in a boring way, like, you don't say, like who cares? Why did you tell me that? Did you really think I was interested? I could care less. So this is another way that sometimes we use it. Now let's continue. You don't say can also be used in a sarcastic way to respond to something that one considers very obvious or self-evident. So it's kind of sarcastic because, it's the opposite of like surprise. In this way, you're not surprised at all. So here's the first one. Again, we do A-B part. There are going to be large crowds of people for the countdown at Times Square on New Year's Eve. And of course, B says, you don't say, like, are you telling me something new? That happens every year. There's always large crowds of people down at Times Square for the countdown. So do you think that's something I didn't know? All right. So, and here number 2 says, there will be many children knocking on doors and saying trick or treat on Halloween. And again, he would probably respond, B, you don't say, like, yeah, I know. That happens every year. Why are you telling me? It's who cares? All right, but anyway, so let's continue here with the note. Some say this expression was a shortening of the phrase, you don't say so. So that might have been before time. Many others say this expression was popularized, made even more popular by the old Benny Hill show or TV show. It was famous in Great Britain for about 30 years. It eventually made its way to the U.S., and then it was rerun on the U.S. for many years, too. So that's why most Americans, at one time, they used to remember, oh, British show, that Benny Hill. They remember that because it took a while before it got to the U.S. I think it was like 10 or 15 years later. But, most Americans got to know Benny Hill, too. But let's get back to this. Benny Hill TV show. There was one particular skit, he did a lot of different skits, like 2 or 3 minutes of one particular act, and it was over, and then there was a joke behind it, and people would laugh at it. So he did one particular skit where Benny Hill was talking on the phone, and he says, you don't say 3 times. So he's talking on the phone like he's talking to someone. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say. And then, of course, when he gets off the phone, the female character who is playing his wife in this skit, she says, who was that? And Benny Hill says, he didn't say. Well, this was supposed to be a joke. It's a little bit of a corny joke, but the point is that it did make this phrase more popular as well. It helped to popularize it even more, even though it was around before that time too. But we sometimes say, you don't say. So again, we got about 3 different uses, 3 different meanings. Okay, I hope you found it interesting. Hope you found it informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.